Hello, everybody. Good evening. It's 6 p.m. UK time, and we welcome you as we do on our amazing weekly call that I look forward to every single week. And I'm super excited because I can see lots of people coming in. And as I am talking, I'm letting you all in. We have a jam-packed session today. So let's just get started because we want you to get the most out of this session. I'm Shazia Hussain. Many of you know me, and if you don't, then you will get to know me through this session. I'm an entrepreneur, the merging of education and business, an author of my first book, and QBN is actually my freedom code. And I'm privileged to be an executive manager within. I love what I do. And I'm deeply passionate about giving back what I've gained myself. And this passion is exactly why these initiatives like Qminds and my Mindset Matter exist. And foremost, I'd like to also share that I'm absolutely thrilled to introduce my co-host. I'm going to spotlight Maher, who is Maher Awad, the CEO of AW Distributors, Apollo Window Film, and the co-founder of QBN. And you know what's so fantastic about Maher? He doesn't simply talk about success, he lives it. He's a seasoned business leader who brings real world insights, practical experiences to everything we explore in these sessions. He's super, super excited about them every single week. And today the format is going to be slightly different because we want to shake you up and we do have a spotlight today. So watch out to see who it will be. And I'm going to hand over Maher to yourself to take over the call.
Thank you, Shazia. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. And again, it's amazing to have you as a co-host and my, I guess we can say Batman and Robin.
You can say that.
um, Shazia, you bring so much to the table. You do so much for the company, and we're so happy and proud to have you as part of you. You're such an amazing entrepreneur yourself, businesswoman. Your mindset is right there aligned with mine, and I think that's why we have so much synergy, and we feed off each other. We make a great team here, and what we do is we try to make a difference in people's lives, and we try to say one thing that can change your mindset. We're going to, during these sessions every week, we have a topic after a topic, and we're going to try to keep them right at 30 minutes this time, 35 minutes to respect everybody's time. It's not long enough to really dive deep into the topic, but it gives you a sense of what we're talking about, point you in the right direction. We're always available here to help you guys, to mentor you guys. I know I mentor several people myself on a regular basis, whether it's going out to lunch or having a Zoom call. We're always here for you because that's the objective of this call. And these are free sessions, and if everybody knew the value of what we're doing here, I think we'd have many more people. Before we dive in, make sure that you share these links with your friends and family, anybody that can benefit. It doesn't matter if you're in college or you're already an entrepreneur or if you're in the medical profession or whatever profession you're at. I think we could all use a little bit boost in confidence, mindset sessions. Even myself, I have my people that I reach out to. I have people that I call mentors and I talk to on a regular basis. So it's really important to surround yourself with like-minded people designed for your success. Now, today's topic, Shazia, is
Today's topic is rewire your mind for wealth, and it's about the abundance mindset. So I'm super excited because let's just recap. We've done master your inner voice and self-talk. We looked at defeat, fear, and rejection last week. And then we've also done visualization and affirmation, the power of inner circle. So I feel this topic kind of pulls everything together because it's about rewiring your mindset. So I'm
it,
super excited for today.
it's an amazing topic. And the reason I love this topic is let's start with a hard truth. We know brilliant people in our lives, right? We know people with degrees, we know people with very high IQs. But you know what? I know a lot of these people with these amazing degrees and amazing high IQs, but financially they're stuck. You know, Why? Because math isn't the problem. Money isn't just a math problem. It's a psychology problem. Let's take an example. You have a Ferrari, okay? And the Ferrari is your intelligence. But if you have the emergency brake pulled up, that's your fear. That's your scarcity. You're not going to go anywhere, okay? So, I mean, you're just going to burn out the engine. So let me give you an analogy, okay? So what is the brake? The brake is the scarcity of your mindset, okay? Let's talk about what scarcity is, okay? Let's imagine you put $100 on a table, okay, in front of a couple of people. Now, that's all there is. If I take $80, you guys are left with 20. It forces us to fight and hoard and hold, and that's called a scarcity mindset. Now, let's talk about what an abundance mindset is. Okay, an abundance mindset is let's group together. Let's use that $100. Let's buy materials. Let's buy something worth $100. We don't just divide the money, we multiply it. That's called an abundance mindset. Yes or no, Shazia?
Absolutely. And that's why I say that it's the mindset that opens the door to freedom. And that links in with what you're saying. You're absolutely right.
So let me share my screen here real quick, and let's talk about that for just a little bit. Okay, you guys can see my screen?
Yep, we can.
All right. So we have the scarcity mindset. We talked about scarcity. It's the fear and limitation. And there's not enough. I must protect what I have. Down at the bottom, you'll see focuses on the lack. You focus on what you don't have. You focus on the competition. Well, there's too much competition for me to win. And what you can lose. You're going to lose what you have. And so these decisions are driven by fear. So it leads to hoarding and missed opportunities. Now let's talk about an abundance mindset, the growth and positivity. Opportunities are limitless. I can create value. Okay, and down at the bottom you'll see you believe there's a plenty for everyone, not just for yourself or not just for the other person. You focus on creating, collaborating, and growth. Just like I used that example of the $100. I bring everybody together and let's use that $100 and multiply it. Decisions are driven by vision, not by fear. So, and this leads to innovation, investment, and wealth. Yes or no? And so I want to use myself as an example. And let's talk about the recession that we had in 2008. And I'm going to use myself for example. 2008, the market crashed. What happened? People went into fear. They started selling their stocks. They started selling real estate. They started, I didn't go into panic mode, but at that time, I didn't really see the vision of the opportunity. And you heard the expression, the rich get richer. The opportunity in 2008 was to buy. Everything was at a rock bottom. And that's when I first started investing into the stock market. And I made some great decisions on the stock side, but on the real estate side, I missed out on opportunities. Okay. And so my fear kept me from really buying more real estate, where the people that had the vision bought and bought and bought. And those real estate investments that they purchased have been multiplied times 3, times 4, times 10 in some scenarios. I know in my market in DFW, the real estate market has really boomed. And so that's the difference between the scarcity mindset and the abundance mindset. And I use myself as a perfect example. Shazia, do you want to add anything to that? Oh, you're on mute. You're muted, Shazia.
I also feel that some of our behaviors and patterns are what we've grown up with through the hidden curriculum and how we've seen other people behave with money. And that's why I think it's really important when we talk about all the things that we've discussed already. Who do we hang around with? And when you talk about the recession and how you invested in stocks, some influence from an inner circle, I'm sure, kind of pushed you in that direction. But if you've grown up and all you've seen is, we must save, it's for the rainy day, and we don't think about how we can multiply, like you said, with the abundance mindset. If you've got an amount, you hold on to it, or do you put it into a system that's going to help duplicate, whether it's through compounding, and the impact then takes place when you give it a go. If you live in fear, you're not going to make that decision. I was watching something by Stephen Bartlett this morning, or was it yesterday? And he talked about when you're making a decision, you've got to look at your worst case scenario and the best case scenario. And a lot of people are sitting on decisions about leaving a job and going into entrepreneurship where they can multiply, but they fear that decision. So the question you ask yourself is, if worst case scenario, things don't work out, can I go back? If you can, that should be an instant decision. So it is about, I feel, the mindset is developed by the association, the people, the self-talk that you have with yourself and those that are around you. And that's why this call is so powerful today, because I feel every single person on this call, including me, at some point in our life, have seen the scarcity mindset, and consciously, more so subconsciously, it sits there, and we need to delete it to rewire how we think.
Right. And so I know, Shazia, you usually ask me some questions, but I'm going to actually take over and read a question that someone else asked me already about this topic. They knew the topic. Everybody knows the topic we're going to be talking about. And so the question was, how do you actually spot when you have that, for example, that handbrake in your life, and what's the first step to physically rewire that response? Now, this is a very profound question. Okay. And that handbrake that we talked about in that Ferrari, that's the hesitation. That's, you feel a physical tug, sudden urge to just, not do anything. It's your old software programming. It might be something from, a habit that your environment you grew in or whatever. So the first step that and Shazia, you can share your opinion, but the first step for me in rewiring and reprogramming is the 5-second rule, and combined with a physical pattern interruption. So whenever you feel a hesitation, you have to, first of all, spot it immediately. You spot the hesitation. What do? I physically stand up, change my environment immediately. Okay. You have to break the loop of that safe thought before it settles into that decision. So that 5-second rule is a great one. Immediately go into affirmations. That's another thing that I do. And I do my affirmations in the morning. We talked about the power of visualization and affirmation a week or two ago. So that's the second thing that I do. So the 5-second rule, stand up, change my environment, start with affirmations. Okay. And then I would say to myself, what would a CEO do in this situation? What would a successful entrepreneur do? I'm talking to myself here. What would a successful, and this is me. Remember a few weeks ago, we talked about mastering your inner voice. Now, this is me mastering my inner voice. So I don't listen to that fear that inner voice has given me. I immediately start questioning it. Okay, what am I going to do to overcome that hesitation, that fear? And that's the first part, is acknowledging that you have that hesitation, that handbrake. And the second thing is to start to rewire and reprogram that mindset. Now, I want to share my screen, Shazia, about that topic. So here it is. The rewire, breaking the limit money script, okay? The limiting belief old script. So you see how your thoughts, money is evil, I don't deserve wealth. These are all your thoughts, your negative thoughts and your subconscious programming, often from childhood. It acts like an invisible barrier. I mean, you don't even know this is happening. It's causing self-sabotage and hesitation. And the brain starts to accept, okay, it's unchangeable, it's a fact. But once you rewire, once you have that conscious awareness, you start empowering the truth. Money is a good tool. I'm building financial competence. And now your brain starts thinking, consciously choose and believe, you're grounded, your potential. You're open now to new ideas, new patterns, new direction. and the brain starts to look and support that evidence as a new truth. We talked about the power of the subconscious. So I'll stop sharing there, and I'll hand it back over to you, Shazia.
Yeah, I'm going to share what I do, and then I think we can bring on the same question to another individual to the call. So I'm going to allow Maher you to do that honor. But for me, when I have to make a decision, I first and foremost I like to do the post-it note exercise. That I really love the worst case scenario and the best case scenario. I think what that visually does for me is makes me realize, well, actually, the worst case scenario I can manage, I can deal with. And then I like to go to my inner circle and get some validation. And I ask them what would they do in this situation. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to always take their advice, but it gives me some food for thought. And then I self-talk to myself that I know what I want. Not quite like the CEO, but I do sort of step back and think ahead, the visualization of where this decision potentially can take me. And then my intuition sinks in and I get that spiritual feeling, and then I pull the trigger and make that decision. But when I make the decision, I know there's no turning back, and I accept the consequences of my decision. And if it doesn't go the way I want it to go, I take it as a universe wanted me this to be an opportunity to learn. I think this is a great question if we spotlight our guest today. So I'm going to step away and I'm going to allow Maher now to bring on, because we did say we're changing the pattern of how we work this week.
All right. Let me see if we have Anwar on the call.
Co-host, I believe.
There he is. All right. We'll add the spotlight. All right, everyone. I'd like to introduce an amazing friend of mine. He's like my brother, an amazing individual, many years of success in his industry. He's very diversified like I am into traditional businesses, experienced seasoned network marketer, owns real estate as well. So our minds have aligned. We've known each other for about 15 years. For the last 5 years, we've created Qminds, QBN Global Network and Platform, and an opportunity for everybody to be part of. So I'd like to introduce our founder of QBN, a good friend and brother of mine, Mr. Anwar Qureshi.
Thank you so much, Maher. What a phenomenal audience today. Again, Shazia, thank you for hosting me today. And I never come prepared, but I literally been watching you guys, how this weekly session is going about the mindset. And truly, I have taken so many notes for my own self, because we all know that everything starts with your mindset. Whatever you can mind, you can conceive it, you can definitely achieve it. Maher and Shazia, they all talk about, like scarcity and about fear. And today specifically, I will talk about the fear. Probably every one of you know, fear by itself has two meanings by themselves. Either you will forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. So it's totally up to you how you want that fear to be the reflection of yourself. Maher talked about 2008 when the depression was going on. To be honest, technically, I have spoken this thing about so many times that literally the paradigm shift came in my life was during those times as well. Not only because of my health, because of the situation. And I was like, there are things happens that was not in our control, not many people's control. But again, it all depends how you have wired yourself or you have prepared yourself as well. Because long time ago, I heard in one conference list similar like this one, two things that really kept and in my mind. One, which I just told you about, that how you deal with your fear. And the second thing they talk about, the comfortability, that how you want yourself to be comfortable or uncomfortable. Because they told me the very first thing is that there is no growth in a comfort zone, and there is absolutely no comfort in a growth zone. So you pick and you decide. When you decide yourself that you are going to be uncomfortable to help or gain or achieve the things that a lot of people will be in a comfortable zone, you really have to face everything and rise within yourself as well. So all these things starts with your brain. I don't remember since I came or since I've been born that anything and everything that I have wished that I have not achieved. whether it's good, bad, or whatever, because it's all about this thing. Like Maher was talking about when he started at the beginning. When I was very young, in my school age, I'm talking about eighth standard, ninth standard, people used to tease me. Oh, he's the chief executive. He's the chief executive, because that one specific word was really fascinating to me as well, that I want to be the chief executive for something and everything. And people used to tease me. And after many, many years, probably 30 years later, when we started the company and people teased it, and I said, man, you know what? The wish comes true. And I called my friends back, and my long-term friends. And when I talked to them, he said, "How's things going?" I said, "Yeah, man, this." So I said, "Finally, you are a chief executive of some company or not yet?" That's what the thing. But it does. The reason I'm telling you this thing, it's all started. Whatever you can conceive in your brain, you can definitely achieve. And I
Absolutely.
know your time is absolutely phenomenal. I don't want to take enough time, but I really appreciate that you guys have started this thing. And Maher has been known in our company as a wise man. Everybody probably knows this thing. And whatever this industry and this friendship has taken us, that's something different, unexplainable. But meeting this individual was I will say for myself, it was a lottery, it was a good luck and everything, because what a fine gentleman, a family man, the friends man, the businessman, and you can call it, of course, the wise man on the top. So I'm so blessed to be around with so many people. Same goes with Shazia, same goes with so many of you on the call today. I do see Dr. K, I do see Carmen and everything, because these people are consistently consistent about these things. I'm so happy. Thank you very much, Maher, for
Thank you
having
so
me on the
much.
call.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it's amazing to have you again as a brother and as a partner and doing this together. Uh, Very powerful words from Anwar, and I appreciate the kind words towards me. I feel exactly the same way. Very fortunate. And this goes back to our topic a few weeks ago about your circle of friends
Yeah.
and network is your net worth. I remember that topic very well because I live by it every single day. Um, I want to share another screen. I know I'm sharing, I'm hoarding all the screen sharing today, Shazia.
That's okay. You're most welcome. I love it. And I was just going to say that when you're sharing the screen, you guys talk about the recession back in the time. My change came in COVID. So it's quite interesting. The pattern is when life throws something at you, you think, right, what am I living? Am I living to work or working to live? What needs to change? So it's really powerful for you to make that decision right now. Are you living to work or working to live? What is it that you're doing? And that's where your mindset will suddenly change and things will start happening.
So I want to share the blueprint, blueprint sets. All right. So over the left, you'll see the short circuit. You know, the wire going short circuit. It's your limiting belief. You know, risk is dangerous. You know, you have that fear, that scarcity mindset. You know, and the result is stagnation. You know, you don't move forward, and then you go short circuit. We talked about the rewiring. This is where we stop the autopilot thoughts. We start to rewire, we pause, we challenge our thoughts. You know, we interpret the conscious awareness of what's going on in our life at that moment. And now you got the core, fully reprogrammed mindset, empowering truth. Risk is not fear, it's an opportunity. You know, growth, action. You have strategic investments. You know, all of my uh, risk are they're calculated risks because I put a lot of thought into all of my risk. You know, and now you have the sustainable wealth, the result, the new wiring upgrade mindset. And so very powerful slide. I'd be happy to share with you guys. I have it in my back pocket because it's very simple. Three simple steps is to identify, know where you're at, start the reprogramming, and then move towards the results. It's everything in life for me is it's just simple. People tend to complicate things a little too much. Oh, I don't have time. I don't have this. I don't have that. These are again, the stagnant, scarcity type mindset. And that's why we're having these Zoom calls. That's why we have, and I love what Julio, good good brother, younger brother of mine, a friend of mine, he says our cultures also teach fear. Absolutely, 1,000,000%. It's hard to grow out of it sometimes. You need to have that total mind shift. So very powerful words, Julio. Thank you for sharing. Shazia, do you want to add anything as we're
I mean, the model that you shared is something that I think everybody should take away on rewiring your mindset. I just wanted to add two books that were life-changing for me. One was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because they talk about the rich abundance mindset and the scarcity mindset. And I actually have a screen, just a quick visual, just to bring everybody onto that quickly, so that I can just. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if you haven't read the book, then you must read it. I think it's everybody's read that makes a difference. And just a quick, have a look. The Rich Dad thinks about, the rich should pay more taxes, study hard so you can find good company. I'm not rich because I have children. All the excuses are in the Poor Dad segment. And the rich person or the Rich Dad is all about abundance, how the language is totally reframed, and that's just something that you need to look at, how you look at. So sometimes, Maher, I don't know if you agree, when we look at an investment and we pull back because we think at the moment I only have X amount, and you pull back and you put, an example, you might stick the money under your mattress. It's not going to grow. It's not going to it's not going to make a change. You're actually going to end up spending it on a rainy day. Whereas the abundance mindset will still put it into a system to compound or to grow, and will not be fearful of it. So that was one book. And the other one, which came later, was The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. And again, it's very similar
Right.
about they're both really good books. I'm not going to go into the depth. And I think the key takeaways for me from the bit that I will end on and hand back to Maya is: getting money is one thing, keeping it another, by the psychology of money, the psychology of money. That wealth is built through behavior, patience, and discipline. And
Absolutely.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the rich buy assets, the poor only have expenses. And we are in the current climate where anybody can buy assets now. There was a time
Yes.
where only the rich could buy assets. But wealth comes from mindset, asset building, and assets come in multiple forms, digital even. So do think about it. And finally, whatever the mind can conceive, believe it can achieve, by Napoleon Hill. So
Going to the Rich Dad Poor Dad story, we all, not all of us, we have a lot of us on this call have children. And I know a lot of you guys don't as well. But for those of you that do have children, this session is not just for you. It's for your children as well. I have 3 of my 5 kids on this call right now. How proud of a father am I? I got Alina, Malik, and Alia on this call. My wife, Kristen, has joined as well. And I love seeing their mindset, because once you start living and start playing that role of success in your household, because children, they're not going to do what you say, they're going to follow what you do. 1,000,000%. So if you're talking about these things, they're listening, even if you're not talking directly to them. If you're living these things, they're seeing you're the best example to your children. So very proud of the 3 kids that are on here. Their mindset is amazing. They're so mature beyond their age. Alina, Malik, and Alia, love you. If you're listening, I see you guys on this call. So just keep doing what you're doing, and you are just destined for success. And for everybody on this call that has children, please take this with you into your household. Take these sessions and pass it on to your children, or if they're available, have them join. I mean, Alina is just turned 15, and she's on this call. So, I mean, how many 15-year-olds are on this call? I think she's the only one. And so bring your kids. I have no problem. As we're wrapping it up, I'd like to share one final slide. And this is a quote by Norman Vincent Peale. Empty pockets never held anyone back. Only empty heads and empty hearts can do that. Let's read it again. Empty pockets, like Shazia said, I mean, right nowadays, your empty pocket is not going to hold you back. Okay? It's only empty heads and empty hearts that can do that. Okay? Your mindset is the key to unlocking abundance in your life. So I wanted to end on that last quote, which is a very, very powerful quote. Keep that in mind. Again, we have an amazing turnout today. These sessions are short, they're sweet, they're powerful. And take everything that we talked about today and don't just wait till next week. Live it. Live it every single day of your life. Continue your affirmations. Continue surrounding yourself with successful people. Continue opening your mind to new opportunities, calculated risks. And I love everybody on this call. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Shazia, thank you for being an
Thank
amazing
you.
co-host.
Yeah.
And
Thank you, Maher. Next week, if we just say that we'll look at, because of what we've covered so far, master emotional control under pressure, because a lot of decisions are made under pressure. So if you are somebody who finds it challenging, or anybody you know, to master your emotions when you're under pressure, the next call is going to be for you all. So on that note,
wow, that's a
Maher,
good
thank
one.
you for an
So
amazing session. Thank you, Anwar, for coming on and sharing your experience. Thank you to each and everybody. I saw we peaked at 38 today, Maya. So
yes,
that was
amazing.
phenomenal.
This call is for everybody. Invite your friends and family. You guys have an amazing week, amazing weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.